Okay, just a quick lesson on incentives is a very simple concept. Just to review, remember this concept of unlimited wants, having to deal with limited resources is called scarcity, and scarcity necessitates that we make choices because not all of our desires can be satisfied. And those choices impose costs. Can you remember what TNSTAAFL stands for? To the expression that has to do with how everything that we decide, everything that we do incurs some kind of cost. And people receive benefits and incur costs when they make decisions. So people tend to make choices based on what they perceive to be the expected cost and the expected benefit of the options they have available, the alternatives. So that's what leads us to incentives, those perceptions of expectation of cost and benefit are what we call incentives. So in your study guides, you're going to find this definition for incentives: the rewards or penalties that shape people's behaviors. In other words, the things that motivate someone to do something. This is what we mean when we say incentives. Now, people respond to incentives in relatively predictable ways, and I'll give you two extreme examples to help you see how incentives make us predictable. Have your parents ever offered you $5,000 to get an A in all your classes? Is it likely that it's likely they haven't, yet surely you can predict what the average student would do in response to a $5,000 incentive to earn straight A's. Has anyone ever held a gun to your head and ordered you to eat a hamburger? It's likely that they have not, yet surely you can predict what the average person would do in response, even if they were a vegan. These are incentives. Why'd you come to class today? Were you trying to achieve the positive effects of attending class? Which of these is a positive effect of attending class? Were you trying to avoid the negative effects of skipping class? Which of these is a negative effect of attending class? Excuse me, of not attending class. What's the negative effect of skipping class, I mean? So there are 4 different types of incentives we'll look at today. First of all, they can be negative or positive. So something that motivates a person because they wish to avoid an expected outcome, this is a negative incentive, and you need to get that into your study guide. Now, which of these is a negative incentive? Whereas something that motivates a person because they wish to attain an expected outcome, this is a positive incentive. And a positive incentive, you need to put that into your study guide. So which of these is a positive incentive? Some more examples. Doing your homework to earn allowance money, is that a positive or negative incentive? It's a positive incentive. Doing your homework to avoid a beating, is this a positive or a negative incentive? This is a negative incentive. Now, the other 2 types of incentives we're going to look at are monetary or non-monetary. The expectation of a loss or gain of money, which creates a motivation to act, this is what we would call monetary incentive. Think you're going to lose money or gain money, and so you do something. And something that creates, so which of these is a monetary incentive? Whereas something that creates a motivation to act that does not involve money, this is what we would call a non-monetary incentive. You need to get that into your study guide. And which of these is a non-monetary incentive? Okay. We've seen these examples before, but now let's think of them in terms of monetary or non-monetary. Doing your homework to earn allowance money, is it monetary or non-monetary? Doing your homework to avoid a beating, is that monetary or non-monetary incentive? Okay. So the last thing we want to understand is that changes in incentives cause changes in behavior. So there's someone named Trent who works at Trader Joe's. What is likely one of his incentives for working there? Is that a monetary or non-monetary incentive? What would likely happen if that monetary incentive decreased by $2 an hour? How is Trent's behavior likely to change due to that change in incentive? Now you can get started on the quizzes to practice and make sure you understand this concept. Good luck!